All right, here we are with yet another episode of Everything is a Scam. I'm Lee J, coming from a undisclosed location in Madrid, Spain, and my father in an even more undisclosed location. So what do you want to start with today?
I'm reading the news flash I get from the Luxembourg news in English.
Yes.
So today's article, an 83-year-old driver traveling the wrong way on the A9 motorway in Gard region of France caused an accident that left 3 people dead, the French emergency services reported on Saturday. The accident, which involved 3 cars and a lorry, took place at around 3:30 a.m. in the direction of Lyon, Montpellier. So I never knew that Montpellier was from a French city.
Well, yeah, of course it's French.
That's in Vermont, the capital of Vermont.
Yes, it is the capital of Vermont.
So anyway, that's not a scam. That's just news of the day. The scam was an endless scam, Lee J. Endless.
Tell me.
Everything is a scam.
What scam is bothering you right now?
Right now, in current events, is the toxic train crash in Ohio.
So actually, go ahead and tell me about that.
Actually, Michigan.
I don't know. All I know is that there's been several train derailments in the last few weeks, but I know minimal information because I'm so detached now because I'm living in Spain. So why don't you briefly tell me what's happening with the trains? And now there's like toxic chemicals poisoning people.
Well, there was a toxic 100-car long train that crashed and was leaking toxic chemicals. And so they set them on fire to burn them off, which sent up a cloud that poisoned the air and poisoned the water. And the government is, we're going to hold the train company responsible. So the story behind it is the problem with the trains is that the train companies, in that endless greed search for profits, have reduced the train keeping people to a minimum. So where there used to be seven employees manning a long train like that, now there's 2.
Right,
so
because it's cheaper, it's more profitable to have less people working the train. To simplify it to its most reductive point, which is why they do that.
Right, and which is why they're having troubles with the airlines.
Right,
is what they're having trouble with everything, because the greed of the American capitalist system has been out of control and still is, but it's getting more concentrated. So that now we have almost a century later a power industrial complex of monopolies. So,
which the laws are still in the books, by the way, just no one enforces them.
Right. There's no enforcement. There's no accountability. There's no justice. And it goes on day after day to the point where today's discussion was young girls are killing themselves. They're having, severe mental problems because of the internet and the isolation and the trouble with the schools where you have now college students that have been in school shootings twice. Once when they were in elementary, and now the same young woman is now experiencing a shooting in her college. So can you imagine growing up like that? I mean, school was like, for me, was a warm bath. It was like safe. There was no stress other than maybe in high school, where there was stress from, from the peer groups. But there's no violence, none whatsoever.
Well, if we're reducing this to its most nefarious and cynical point, as I'm a few days from my 36th birthday. Imagine that. Oh, God. I'll be 40 years old soon. Jesus. So, the way I see it, not only is our educational system deliberately shitty, whether it's underfunded and the teachers are treated like crap and they're paid like crap, and as you know, the adventure I've been trying to do just to be able to be a, public school teacher in the United States is needlessly difficult, almost impossible to surmount for most normal people who want to become teachers. And then they don't pay you. But now, to make things even worse, now you'll probably die. Or at least there's a higher possibility of dying at a school shooting than certainly anywhere else in Europe.
Right.
You could say.
So you can die, and now you have now the clown show in Florida, where you can be arrested as a felon if you mention Black history and racism.
So again, this is my, what's that? Mental, I can't even think right now. Just my brain dividing in half. Just the cognitive dissonance. Here's trains that are derailing and leaking toxic chemicals into the air that are killing people, but we're going to complain about what school teachers can teach and throw them in jail for it. When I bet nobody actually directly responsible for the train derailments will go to prison or get fined, except for the underpaid and overworked people actually on the train who were put in a possible situation who they couldn't do.
They will scapegoat it on the employees for sure.
Right.
Oh, the trainman was drunk. Well, yeah, he was drunk because you have him working 90 hours a week, and he's underpaid, and he's under stress, and you don't have any mental health benefits in your employment. So what do you expect from your...
Well, wasn't that that was just a few months ago, the last failed political fight was just to get them a few days of paid leave?
Yes.
And they said no.
They said no.
Because fuck you. And then you wonder why the trains are being derailed.
Right.
Because these people are fucked. They have...
It's such a scam. And our government is led by politicians that are all millionaires and have no concept of what Americans are going through. No concept.
Well, yeah, that's like an understatement.
And they all got their education. They all got it without having to worry about being shot at or their teachers getting arrested. And now they're basically expecting the new generation to pay this kind of tithe to the clown show.
Right.
So I don't know what else to call it. So what's the solution? Stop voting for the motherfuckers, you idiots.
So I'm glad you brought that up. It's a good segue to what I wanted to talk about today. Here's the thing, that's half right. You're half correct. But here's the issue. When they actually vote for somebody else, that still doesn't work. Because A, look what happened to Bernie Sanders, right? The Democratic Party scammed him twice in 2016 and 2020. In 2016, they admitted it in court. Yeah. They said that the Democratic Party is a private company and the voters shouldn't expect there to be a completely open democratic process or something to that effect. And it was revealed that they had their thumbs on the scale for Hillary over Bernie. And
who is the they that you're referring to?
the people who were running the Democratic Party, whoever those are, who really runs it, the big money donors. They do whatever they say. But then like talk about Pelosi and Schumer. And remember Debbie Wasserman Schultz? They found she was the head of the DNC, and then they found out that she was improperly supporting Hillary, and then she resigned as DNC, and then Hillary immediately made her campaign co-chair.
Right.
That was 2016. And then 2020 was even more fucked because it was the pandemic. A lot of shady shit happened during the primary during that.
But Pelosi and Schultz, they were all there for the grace of the voters that put them there. Is my point.
Here's the thing. Like, yes, that is true. But the point I'm making is that if given the opportunity, put it this way, Katie Porter's running for Senate in California.
She'll never get through.
But why?
Because the idiots are going to vote for Adam Schiff because that's who Pelosi says to vote for.
But is it that simple? You're saying it's the idiots. I think, you could say 50%, but it's because that's who they want to win. Like I'm saying, even when people wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders, they scammed him. They were never going to let him be the nominee no matter what happened.
Right.
So they're going to push all their money towards Schiff and screw Katie Porter. And here's my real issue is like let's go back to AOC, right? When AOC first got elected, she shocked everybody. She came out of nowhere. And now, even after a few years, I always tell people, just watch a video of her from 2018 giving an interview or giving a speech, and then watch an interview of her now. It's like a completely different person. Now,
right. So she wouldn't get my vote this time around.
So what I'm saying is that either you can't win, they won't let you win, or if you do win, they get you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and it's not even malicious or not. I don't even necessarily think that AOC may or may not knowingly even act like this. Maybe it's just being there, going from a bartender to being a congressperson to making over $100,000 a year to getting all the fame, all the benefits. They might not even have to. Do you think they tell her, say, keep your mouth shut and you can play the game? Or is it just I call it the soft corruption of being in office that it gets to you because there's just so much thrown at you?
Right, because all day, every day, all day, donors are trying to buy her vote.
Right.
She has to spend her time saying no.
And I'm not even saying that. Not even that. Again, even if she doesn't have donors, it's just the fact that you're there, all the benefits of being a congressperson. We were there. We were in the Capitol building. We know the socialist hair salon they have that no one talks about, which is why they have all the same fucking haircut, because they all get the taxpayer-subsidized hair salon, amongst all the other perks they get, the cafeteria, all the staffers. So I'm saying it's even if they do get in there with good intent, and whether or not they're actually sat down in a room and told by all the old people, the 80-year-old Nancy Pelosi, that play the game or you're out, I honestly think part of either that happens or it's just, I call it the soft corruption of just being there. Do you want to go back to being a bartender in Brooklyn or whatever the Bronx?
Right. And it's subtle pushing. So a freshman representative is having to sleep on the couch in his office because he can't afford to rent in Washington. So the power brokers, the head leaders, the Pelosi level people, go to them and say, "Don't you want to have a nice place to live? Do you really want to just sleep in your office every night?" Well, no, I would like to have a real bed and an apartment. Well, this is how you can get there. And they lay it out. You don't think they have those conversations?
Right, and my point is that like whether or like again, that's the real question is do you think like AOC? There's two things. Do you think AOC went in there actually wanting to do the right thing and change things, and then got corrupted basically, or was it a scam from the beginning with her?
No, she's been corrupted. She can't. In other words, this was like when I was an activist, and I finally realized, whoa, I am a man on an island surrounded by an ocean of alternatives to the way I think. And I said to myself, I can't change America.
Hold on, let's perfect. It's a good perfect time to bring up the story because you've been telling me the story my whole life. Back it up and say, let's give the story some more context. So, like you said, so you were an activist in the 60s and 70s, which is late 60s, early 70s, basically.
Yes.
That's when you were in university. Okay.
Yes.
And you're basically protesting against the Vietnam War and Nixon for president, and that was 1972 was the Nixon-McGovern race. So I'll let you take over from there. So tell me your life-changing moment.
I mean, the 60s brought us face to face with the Vietnam War, with the peace sign, which is really the no nukes sign, is the origin of the symbol. So we had, nuclear terror. We had then Asian war that we couldn't win. And we had the corruption of the military-industrial complex. And our government, bought out and sold. And we had millions, tens of millions of people protesting in the streets, on the radio, even some on TV, basically loudly protesting. We had the Black Panthers. We had some violence. We had confrontations, and this was all part of the civil rights. It was all happening at once. It was a rebellion against all that was bad. So we had Nixon as president. At that time, I called him the baby burner. And he ran for re-election in a complete landslide victory over George McGovern, who was an anti-war candidate and had the support of tens of millions of young people and religious people, but lost the popular and the electoral vote in a landslide. And it was at that point that I said, even though I felt that my generation had succeeded in turning around the warlike culture of America during the Vietnam War and being called a pinko, and you had the construction workers against the college students. And it turned out that America they just were too, I don't know, the silent majority, as Nixon called them, was voting for re-electing the monster of Richard Nixon and all that he stood for. So it was at that point that I said, time out, Lee. You can't change the whole country. So either they're right or you're right. And what do you want to do about it? So if I'm right and they're wrong, what am I going to do about it? Nothing. There's nothing I can do. I did as much as I could do, and I said, that's it. I'm no longer an activist. I'll just have my personal decisions and my personal voting and do my own thinking for myself. And feel sad at what my countrymen have decided to do. And I still feel that way, that it's my countrymen that are at fault. It's not Trump. It's my countrymen who vote for Trump. That's the problem.
Well, and I want to take it a step further from that because, again, it's just like you said. It's everything is, again, that's our famous quote, everything's a scam, as everything is so twisted because the McGovern losing to Nixon is constantly always referred to when the Democrats don't want to support anyone who's actually progressive. They say, well, look, the last time we did that, then McGovern lost to Nixon in his huge landslide victory. It's like, yes, but there were so many other, it wasn't just because he was a progressive anti-war. There's a bunch of fucked problems back then. Like, he had his vice presidential thing was a problem. And even more so, like the Trump thing, my postulation, as it were, is like, if our country wasn't fucked with a bunch of problems, no one would want to vote for him in the first place. He would not seem an attractive person to vote for if most people had good jobs and had money and had good health care and education and had some fucking hope for their future and their children's future. But no, it's like, no, they just say, oh, it's just racism, misogyny, stupidity. Like, yes, all of that is part of it. And there maybe there is that 30% that he'll have forever that are QAnon batshit insane people. But I think it's not, again, one of my favorite words in English language is nuance, right? Try to have nuance, which is the exact opposite of everything that we get in the news and politics, because they don't want you to have nuance coverage. They want to be black and white, yes or no, you're wrong, I'm right, that's the end of it. It's more nuanced than that. Like, again, put it this way, why do you think these countries in Europe, why do you think Finland has a hot, young, nice prime minister?
Because they're happy?
Because they're not completely fucked. Right. Most of the people there are fine. Now, again, I know the analogy really says, well, you can't compare Finland to the United States because it's a country of like a few million people. Yes, but everything, it's the reason why I took that economics class in this graduate program I'm doing, because I never was an economics guy. Obviously, math is like my kryptonite. Just, we're all going to die if I have to use math to save the world. But I wanted to get an idea of what this economics was, and it's specifically about United States economic policies, like of right now. And, just like everything else, it's all fake in the end. It's all just numbers that we make up in our minds and write down. But even in that game, as we've seen time and time again, everything is a choice. Remember that one of your favorite quotes from Law and Order in politics?
Right.
In politics, you have two options. Do something or do nothing. And doing nothing has less risk.
Right.
So, yeah, and I think also when you talk about happy, I think that what Americans have been conditioned to think is happiness is different than what other people are considered happy. Like, are people in again, these countries that are small and they're smaller, these European countries, but are they out like getting drunk every day, or are they going crazy? Are they, put this way, is everybody buying a mansion or a Ferrari? Is that their version of happiness? I don't think so necessarily. And people have, and the biggest thing I took away, because I always was talking about the Scandinavian countries, Nordic countries, and talking about Finland is the happiest country in the world for over 5 years now, I think, number one. And the big difference is, yes, people aren't completely screwed. Even those at the bottom, there's some level of safety. And more importantly than that, because things aren't fucked, people have trust and faith in their institutions. Where in America, we're told the government's always bad no matter what, and corporations are more efficient than government, which we can get into that detail why that's just another scam lie. But people's lives are at least minimally decent and acceptable. And we've gotten to a point where I feel like most Americans don't have faith in anything anymore. And most people, majority of the country, have been screwed for 40 years. So why should they care? And you can blame part of it's on stupidity, sure, but it certainly doesn't help that we have an education system that doesn't want people to be educated, that would prefer people to be stupid. Just like throwing back to my old bro Socrates, right? Democracy only really works if you have an educated population capable of critical thinking, and we have a system that prefers that they don't. Because if we had people who could think...
It's thousands of years old. It's
the same shit over and over again.
It's the patricians manipulating the plebes, the partisan.
So if we had a more well-run, put-together society that wanted people to be educated, that wanted people to be successful, that encouraged this, to encourage critical thinking, do you think these people would continue to get elected? Do you think the people that are bought off by the donors would continue to get elected? I don't think so.
I don't know. So here's where I get into a quandary.
Yes.
I think that there's a great silent majority. I believe it. And some of the intense support of the manipulating leadership that we have comes from the middle class, who are comfortable. They're comfortable. So they don't want much change at all. And that's that conflict that you see with the class system, that the middle class is fairly comfortable, and the lower class is in dire emergency straits. But the middle class doesn't want to lose their status. They don't want to become the lower class. So then you have the manipulators that come in and start to steer that. Well, look, if you're not careful, those Hondurans are going to take your children's jobs. And you have
or it's like, or if you raise the billionaires' taxes, they might come after your taxes next. That kind of thing.
Yeah, that too. The unfairness. The 1% holding more than 200 million Americans is wrong. It's not good. And like Ralph Nader's memo that you sent me, these multi-billionaires, what have they personally done to help the earthquake victims in Turkey? Wouldn't maybe $5 or $6 billion of their own private money help thousands, tens of thousands of people? But they don't.
Even just to do it for show.
Right.
Just to gain the goodwill. They don't care.
They don't care. Because they're thinking, well, then they're going to expect me to be paying for all the suffering in the world, and it's not my responsibility. So it's such a scam. It's such a scam. I just worry about the middle class being too comfortable.
Well, you speaking it, but isn't that part of the problem too? Is that the middle class is being chipped away also?
Well, yeah. And so that's why in my lifetime I didn't fear for being working class. I had no fear to be. I didn't need to be middle class. I could deal with being working class. I ended up being middle class, but I had no fear. And I think there's just so much fear now that people have. They don't want to slip down. They've heard the story that you could become homeless. You could be a college degreed professional and end up homeless. How can that be? How can that be? Is it true? Does that happen to people?
I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happens a lot, especially when there's another economic collapse. I'm sure it happens a lot.
I mean, look at the tens of millions of people that lost their homes in 2008. Tens of millions,
and they didn't. They probably had no. They probably had no idea or thought that was going to happen.
Right. Anyway.
So hold on for a second.
What?
So now that we're back, my father said he'd rather talk about some more lighthearted scams that affect our life.
Right. Instead of trying to attack the world's problems or the country's problems. So first on the list, in no particular order, is how people have been manipulated and scammed into throwing away so much of their money on gambling in America. And it might be worldwide, but in America, it's embedded deeply in our culture now. When I was growing up, there was no gambling. There was the Irish sweepstakes once a year that was somehow held in Ireland, and you could buy tickets and maybe win that lottery somehow. And then, of course, we had the race tracks, and then off-track betting in New York, where you could go to a storefront and bet. And then they came out with the lottery, and the lottery kept expanding and expanding and expanding. And then, of course, you had casinos. You had to go to Las Vegas or to the Caribbean. Now they're everywhere, and they're electronic. So not only are they sucking money from everybody's pocket, but they're doing it technologically now so that they can basically say, oh, you won the jackpot? No, you didn't. It was a machine malfunction. So, no, we're not going to pay you $100,000. We're going to pay you $3. So what kind of scam is that? And what is your recourse?
Right. That happens a lot, actually.
Yeah. Yes, it does. So, I mean, is there no justice? It's a complete scam.
Here's one from just this month. Story of a woman who was offered nothing but a steak dinner after she won a $43 million jackpot on a slot machine in New York has resurfaced this week. Katrina Bookman from Queens, New York, played a game at Resorts World Casino. Remember that? That bullshit. In August 2016, where the machine told her she had won over $42.9 million. She posed with the machine in shock as she thought she'd just become a multi-millionaire, but sadly it was too good to be true. So the single mother of four, of course, let's not let her win the jackpot. The slots played a game called Sphinx, which she won the huge sum. I kept thinking about my family, the struggle I've been through. It's hard to cope. However, when she went to collect her winnings, she was told the machine had malfunctioned and that she'd only won $2.25.
Right.
Resorts World spokesman Dan Bank. Why does his name have to be Dan Bank? Also, that's like shoving it in your face.
Yeah.
Told CNN that casino personnel was able to determine the figure displayed was an obvious malfunction. Right. Winning the jackpot is an obvious malfunction. How convenient is that?
Right.
He added this was later confirmed by the New York State Gaming Commission, who's probably paid off by the casino industry, and said that machine malfunctions are rare. No, they're not. They say this all the time.
Right.
And we would like to extend our apologies to Miss Bookman for any inconvenience this may have caused. The casino offered her a complimentary steak dinner on the house to apologize for the glitch, and which she refused and went on to sue the establishment.
Yes.
The lawsuit was filed on June 4th, 2017, and Katrina's attorney, Alan Ripka, told the publication, "You can't claim a machine is broken because you want it to be broken." Right? This should be common sense, right? Yeah. Yeah. I tell you now, it's like you get someone pregnant and you say it was a condom malfunction.
Right.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Does that mean it wasn't inspected? Does that mean it wasn't maintained? And if so, does that mean people that played there before have zero chance of winning? Yeah, probably. CNN revealed the complaint alleged against Resorts World was negligent and said the woman suffered mental anguish. However, it's not clear who won the lawsuit 6 years on. The story was shared by Twitter, of course, on news account Rap House on January 10th and has over 10 million views. I don't care about that. Which brought the incident to light. Social medias were outraged, blah, blah, blah. Somebody said, "I knew slot machines were rigged, but this is taking the piss. I hope she sues. That ain't even for $10,000 or something. Sorry about the $43 million. That's wild. Here's a steak dinner." And said, I really feel like that's such a quintessentially American fuck you.
Yeah, right.
Not only are we saying that your jackpot was a scam, fraud, malfunction, we're going to give you nothing but some free dinner. Not like give you $10,000. Give us here's $100 to snort some cocaine with. Not even. Just here's a steak dinner. Go fuck yourself. Tips not included.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And drinks.
Right. And drinks are extra. Right.
Extra.
And you probably have to file it on your taxes as a gift or something. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another new. Okay, so that's just a brief article. That's new. So it looks like it happened, but it became in social media conscious recently. So this shit happens all the time. Actually.
All the time. I remember it happening decades ago when the casinos first started. You had in Hollywood, Florida, the Hard Rock Cafe Casino, Indian Casino, set up by the Trump organization. And they had one of those, it was on the TV, the nightly news. There's the jackpot being machine flashing, jackpot. And then they told the person, no, that was a mistake.
Here's so just to immediately counterclaim what they said. It's a rare thing. Here's another news article just from last year. A slot machine in Las Vegas malfunctioned and didn't tell the tourist he won. The gaming board tracked him down. Let's see what it says here. A tourist hit the Las Vegas jackpot in a slot machine last month, but he was never informed due to a malfunction in the machine. To quote George Carlin, what are we, fucking stupid? If people go along with this? I guess you have to. Like, what are you going to do? Sue the casino?
I mean, what do you mean it's a malfunction? So
every time that someone wins, it's a malfunction.
So when the plane crashes and they say it was a malfunction, sorry, it was a malfunction.
Just like the condom reference I made. Sorry, that's what else. I'll say that to if I get someone pregnant. Oh, it was a condom malfunction. Sorry.
Right.
Here's $20 for a steak dinner.
Right.
Have fun. So here's what it says. January 8th, a man later identified as Robert Taylor played a slot machine at Treasure Island Casino. Due to a communications error. Okay.
Yeah.
According to gaming officials.
Yeah.
All right. A slot machine malfunction did not notify the Taylor or the casino that he was the winner. Interesting. By the time the error was noticed, the casino personnel were unable to identify the man, who's from out of state. The gaming board took an exhaustive search to make sure the man would be awarded his prize. Wow, that's shocking. So that's Las Vegas, I guess. Better than... Here's what it says. The Nevada Gaming Control Board is charged with strict regulation of the gaming industry, the protection of the gaming public, and ensuring the industry benefits the state of Nevada. I commend the agents of Enforcement Division for ensuring that public trust in the gaming industry remains strong. Public trust. Hey, that's a good phrase we should talk about.
Yeah.
Public trust. How much public trust is in most things these days? I'd say very little.
Right.
Robert Taylor was already back home when he was notified of his winnings last week. Gaming official. Well, that's a shocking story. They actually tracked him down to give him his money. Wow. I guess they probably want to have a good story to counteract all the other stories of scams.
All right. So, remember the scam I was telling you about, Central Hudson? The electric. So last week, the CEO resigned. So my question is, he resigned because of the billing problems that they did on all of the customers.
Yeah.
Remember I had mentioned that they would just they would just make an estimate of 3 times what it should be because they could. They can make any estimate they want. So there was a bunch of meetings, town hall meetings. And anyway, so the guy resigned. So my question is, he resigned, and what kind of motherfucking parachute did he get when he resigned?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right.
So he probably makes more money resigning than working.
Yeah, that's true. It's better to get fired, and when you reach such a high level, it's actually better to get fired.
Yeah,
because then they have to pay you to leave. Like remember when NBC scammed Conan?
Yeah,
they had to pay him like $60 million to not do his show or something crazy like that. And like all these bankers, I think like every time they use a bank, like a CEO of Wells Fargo or all these banks, they use as a scapegoat, and then they have to resign, but then they get paid like $40 million. Golden parachute package, so whatever.
And how can these people make so much money? I mean, are they so skilled at what they're doing that they're worth that much money? I don't know.
Well, that's a whole other conversation to have. Like the value, the actual value. I mean, we can absolutely say that we have an unfortunate inverse of value of, what makes society function, and then what makes money, right?
All right. Next scam.
Before you move on, I just want to tell you that looking up casino claims machine malfunctioned. I had another article. Here's one from Alabama man at the Montgomery Wind Creek Casino, Montgomery. The casino's on tribal land operated by the Porch Band of Creek Indians. They won over $1 million jackpot, but then they try to say it was a malfunction. Check this out. The gamblers sued the casino in tribal court of the Porch Band of Creek Indians, but the suit was dismissed. The court declared that sovereign immunity prevailed. The tribe was an independent nation and immune from being sued. Yay! There you go.
So, what about the fact that why aren't the machines programmed to never pay a jackpot?
Because
they probably are programmed to never pay a jackpot, except when they malfunction.
Possibly. I mean, who knows how much of a scam the actual regulations are? I just feel like somebody has to win something at some point, right? Like here, somebody wins $5,000.
Yeah.
Here, somebody wins $10,000.
Yeah.
But you're saying the jackpot is probably the accidental malfunction.
Yes.
Malfunction.
Yeah, because
so you can't win a jackpot unless it's a malfunction. Is what you're saying.
Ask the authority, whoever they are. I guess it's state by state. How many jackpots have been paid out by the casino? How many? 1, 20, 100, or 0? Where are those numbers? And who's following that? Yeah, the regulators? Yeah, right. We see how much regulation there is in America.
Wow. All right, well, let's just... So, not only is gambling stupid to begin with, you'll probably lose even if it's not rigged, which
Right.
it is. And if you do actually win, they'll just say it was a malfunction, an accident, and you don't actually win.
So is it a scam when these Powerball win $500 million? Are those people really getting the money?
We can only assume so. You never hear the resolution to that.
Right.
You know, I'm sure if these people actually win, they probably hire expensive lawyers immediately and then disappear from the face of the earth, so we never know who they are ever again.
All right. Next scam were when you were going to college, you were very disappointed to not go to a top level named university because you thought that was very important for your future, and you weren't able to do that because of the cost, and that brought us to the scandal that followed years and years later.
I want to put a qualifier to that. It's not just that I was disappointed that I didn't get to go, it's that I actually worked my ass off getting grades. And I literally had a nervous breakdown in college because I was pushing myself so hard. And in the end, that ended up being worthless. And yes, I was pissed off in hindsight. Yes, I was pissed off at the time because what I was told, you take these courses, you do well, you will get guaranteed admittance to this university. It was in California, right? So basically, I did an honors program and bullshit. You do these classes, and you get, since you're a California resident, you get guaranteed enrollment to these UC schools, blah, 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 because you're California. Long story short, bullshit, right?
It was a scam.
Another scam, yes. Yeah. And, I mean, in theory, I maybe could, because I had a... Well, let's not even talk about that. Let's pull back. Long story short, another story about that. So I had a professor of mine. I was trying to get in UCLA at the time. That was the goal for me. And I was told this honors program would help me do that. One of my professors...
How much did UCLA cost?
I mean, it was less than USC.
And how much was that?
I think that was like $60,000 a semester or something like that. So here's the deal. I'm glad about that. So I never wanted to do. One of my professors for film and film studies, like a film history, film theorist, film theory guy. He's the one who encouraged me to apply to USC, not for film school, but for film studies. He was a PhD from their program. He was a Trojan. And, it's all bullshit. He's like, I'm the Trojan family, and I'll help you get in. I had a letter of recommendation for him. I had a 3.8 GPA, honors program, letter of recommendation from a former PhD student from the program, and I didn't get in.
Right.
So after that, I'm like, oh, so this is really bullshit. So even using the inside track who connections is bullshit also.
Right.
So then after that, I was so pissed off at that, both at not getting into either of those bullshit schools, that I just said, screw it. I'm going back to Southern California. I go to a state school where it cost me $0 because I got a scholarship.
Right.
And that's the end of that. And then, to make that even more of a skip, sorry, I completely derail. This is my whole educational story. So, because I actually like education, I was originally double majored in communication studies and political science. And again, I wanted to do something in media, so I thought I'd do communication, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I did communication studies, not communication like broadcasting. Like mass media communication, so I did academic, which didn't do me any good. And then when I got there, I was double majored. That's when the Great Recession was in full blast. And they were not only raising tuition, they were cutting classes also. So they were cutting the classes and raising tuition, which makes absolutely no sense. So I decided, and I wouldn't, and the scholarship wouldn't cover the double major, only cover one of them. So I said, screw it, I'm done with this. I dropped political science. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in communication studies, and I got the hell out of there as fast as I could, because to me, it all felt like a giant scam in the end.
Right.
And part of me, half of me still regrets, like, you know, with my grades, I could have gone to a better school, like anywhere else, anywhere in the country, and maybe gotten a scholarship somewhere, maybe not.
What difference would it have made?
Well, let me finish. Which may be true, but I know people who went to these prestigious universities who didn't get scholarships and are completely fucked financially.
Yeah.
They owe loans. They just gave up paying their loans.
Right.
They just never going to do it.
Right.
So I always go back and forth in my life thinking, did I make the right decision? Could I have made better choices? Possibly. But in the end, the best decision I made was to not graduate college owing $60,000+ of student loans that you can't file bankruptcy to get out of. And not just that, one of my professors, he's a Spanish, I'm doing it in Spain because I wanted a different perspective. He just told us how he just sent his son to Columbia University Law School, not even for a law degree like a JD, but a master's of law. That's like an even more like unnecessary qualification that most Americans don't even need because he's Spanish. Long story short, we did the math, and I want to make sure. But when he said I'm sending my kid to Columbia Law School for a master's in law, and I don't know if it's by year or by semester. I'll have to check it again. But either way, for one of those, either a year or semester, the tuition with the housing included, all that other stuff, living expenses, $100,000.
Right.
That's either. I'm gonna look it up right now. There's no reason not to know.
So why are the deans of colleges and universities millionaires?
Because people are paying $100,000 to go to Columbia Law School because they hope their lives won't be completely fucked when they graduate, so they'll have a good job. That's the whole point.
Okay.
Here, just for undergraduate tuition, is that by year or semester? Either way, it's $55,000. No, here we go. So, Columbia Law School, JD, and LLM. Yeah, Masters in Law. I think mostly like foreigners do that because it's law schools. So here, 2022-2023 expenses. Tuition is $75,000 plus all this other shit. Student activity fee, university services and support fee, health-related services fee, student health insurance. Right. Right. You got to pay for that. $82,000 total. Now, factoring in housing costs and food, personal expenses, document fee, whatever the hell that is, another $100, because why not? Screw you. Books and supplies, $1,500. Here's the estimated academic year budget for a year at Columbia Law School. $110,000. $110,450 for 1 year of Columbia Law School, and maybe you'll get a good job after that, if you're lucky, and pay those loans. I know someone who went to Harvard Law School, and they were paying $2,000 in student loans a month when they first graduated. Yeah. So good luck. Good luck with that. Have fun. So, long story short, as for me, at a personal level, as much as part of me feels like maybe my life would be better or different if I had gone to some supposedly prestigious university, I also feel some relief that I'm not completely fucked financially like some other people are who go to these schools and don't get scholarships. People forget Obama, before he became president, before he became a senator, he was just a broke-ass professor of law at University of Chicago, working as like a state senator part-time. Like, he was basically paying off his student loans until he became president. So
Right.
he just got really lucky. You just become president, and you could pay off your loans.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at. And the fact that we're still having this bullshit, even like there is such an uproar about Biden trying to cancel just a small fraction of the student loan debt. Like, nobody cared when Trump did it for disabled veterans, and I think that's a good thing.
Right.
Good. That's one of the few things I
So
call
Trump
balls and
did
strikes.
something good?
That's one of the you cannot object. Unless you're a complete political hack, you can't say that wasn't a good thing.
Okay.
But because our politics sucks, like, they can't even give him that. Like, no one talks about it. And that happened. The point I'm making from that is when Trump did that, no one seemed to care. No one complains that the president went outside his authority. But now that someone's trying to do it for like a bunch of normal people, now it's a problem.
Right.
And again, why is it that we can't file, you can't get out of student loans for bankruptcy? That was Biden back in the day. He's directly responsible, and I don't think I heard anyone ever actually say that at all during the presidential race.
Well, Pocahontas did once.
Yeah, well, look what good that did her, right? Nothing. They
Right.
scammed her too. They scammed. They offered her. They said, you know what? Just stay in the race a little bit longer, so you'll split Bernie's progressive vote, and Biden will clinch the nomination. And maybe you'll be vice president. Maybe you'll at least be Secretary of Treasury. We'll give you something, right?
DJ,
And thanks.
what would have happened if Bernie won?
Well, it depends. How do you want to have this conversation? Do you want to have this conversation in 2016 win or 2020 win?
Either one.
All right, let's go backwards in time. So
Wait. Let me finish.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
scam
sorry,
that
I just went
started.
off the rant. I just went off on a huge tangent right there.
So the scam to all of that was the reason you didn't get into a good school was because your father, me, wasn't a millionaire to bribe you into the school so you could get drunk and bang chicks and get a degree.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's the simple way to put it, and not even that. And the funny thing, you mentioned that again to make me feel better about myself. I actually met a guy who did end up going to USC Film School, and I guess maybe he got a scholarship, or at least partial scholarship, because he was like a non-traditional student because he was older. I think he was like 25 or even 27 when he went, and he literally told me that it was just like it was basically daycare.
Right.
There was no education, to quote Bulworth, which I hope we talk about later. There ain't no education going up in that motherfucker. So they were just getting, just like you said, they were just getting drunk and doing drugs and banging each other. And, whatever. Maybe you'll get contacts, maybe you won't, maybe you'll succeed. But you know what the saddest part is? When I met that guy who I'm talking about, when I met him, what do you think his job was when I met him? And he told me this story.
And he worked for Amazon?
No, he was a laundry delivery boy. Part-time.
No benefits.
Right. So, what is this? But going back to what you're saying, Dad, not even bribe. Like, yeah, you bribe people. Like, what is it? Jared Kushner's dad donated like $1 million+ to Harvard. And then I wonder if that had anything to do with him going to Harvard.
Right.
But not even that. That's like the normal bribery. Remember, were you headed to talk about the college admissions scam from a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Exactly.
That was so bad. Those kids were so bad and so dumb, they couldn't even bribe their way. They couldn't even do like a normal bribe. They couldn't even just do. You're like, here's like 100,000. Here's $3 million. Can you put my stupid kid in your school? They couldn't even do that. They had to commit fraud,
Right.
tax fraud. They lied. They lied in the applications, and not even that. The donations that they said that they made, they wrote those off on their taxes. So they try to get tax deduction. And that's why they got them, by the way. That's the reason they got them, not the actual scamming and fraud to the universities, but it was them trying to scam their taxes why they got. It's always the taxes, man.
Yeah, didn't they bust some of the coaches or something?
Something like that. But all I know is there were like hundreds of people that got I guess, caught up in this thing, but the only ones we heard of that had any sort of punishment was fucking Aunt Becky from Full House and fucking Felicity Huffman, William H. Macy's wife.
Huffman? How do you spell Huffman?
Huffman, like Huff, Huffman.
Only
Huffman.
one N?
I believe so.
That's a Jew.
Oh, is that your conspiracy?
Yes.
Let's see. Let me just see if she actually is or not before you go on your diatribe. Okay. Let me see.
One N, Huffman? That's a Jewish name.
Let me see if she is. It doesn't say. It's it's inconclusive at this point. But the point I'm making is of all the people that actually, again, there was apparently like millionaire businessmen who were implicated in this, but I never heard anything happen to them.
There was like 35 to 40 that they caught.
Right, but I only heard about Aunt Becky from Full House and Felicity Huffman.
Aunt Becky?
I think Felicity Huffman had a guilty plea, so she had a month of house arrest,
right?
Or something. Oh, you mean in her like Malibu, Beverly Hills, fuck you mansion, wherever that was? I'm sure. Let me look that up right now.
Who's Aunt Becky?
She's from Full House. Whatever. Who cares? Right? I'm sure there's millionaire assholes that here we go. What does it say? Felicity Huffman has completed her sentence for college admission scandal. That said, in May, Huffman pled guilty to pay. Here's actually what happened: to paying a college admissions consultant $15,000 to have a proctor change her daughter Sophia's answers after she took the essay. That's a lot of bribery. That's a lot of variables in there. Wow, to pay someone to change the scores.
Right.
Oh, it's worse than I thought. Huffman served 11 of her 14-day jail sentence and was released last October. She also sentenced to 250 hours of community service and was on supervised release for 1 year. Here's the other one. Huffman was one of Wendy Melty's parents, including Full House star Lori Loughlin.
How do you spell it?
Loughlin. I think that's like Irish.
Yeah, that's
right?
Irish.
Irish name. And William H. Macy was not implicated. Yeah. According to documents, Huffman agreed to pay William Singer, whose Key Worldwide Foundation hired various people to take tests on behalf of students who had falsified medical forms, saying Dad, this is horrible. This is terrible. Look at this. This is like disgraceful to people who have actual like learning difficulties. Like me with my fucking dyscalculia and ADHD. I never even heard about this before. It says they paid people to make fake medical forms saying they needed extra time for their AACTs and SATs, and because they were still so dumb, they changed the scores anyways.
Right.
Oh God. Oh, this makes me want to vote for Trump.
And
I'm joking.
What, community service? What is that? Picking up litter on the roadway? I don't think so.
No, it's telling other people how to act like they're picking up trash on the road. Wow, that's new information. That's so bad.
Yeah.
Man. That's so bad. Here, what does it say? Because I remember because
So wait a minute. How many more do you think have been doing that aren't? We're never caught.
Oh, thousands over the years. Thousands.
Of course.
And that's again that like at least Jared Kushner's dad just paid them like $2 million and we're done here. You know, like that's the traditional. That's the all right. You build an admissions hall or you build a new dorm and then your kid gets to go there. But no, they went even. Oh man, they made fake disability medical forms.
Yeah,
these people should burn in hell. Okay. So, but she at least pled guilty.
And so should the admission staff.
Right. Well, if this was me in my socialist mindset, I would, at the very least, you send like whoever enforcement squad to go in there and look at all their books and see how much of a scam fraud it is. And if you really want to go, you nationalize that shit.
Right.
Fuckers with their $1 billion endowments. Anyways, let's see. Because Huffman at least pled guilty. The other one didn't. Said, meanwhile, Laughlin and her husband, fashion designer Massimo Giannulli, sounds like a dickhead, were also charged in the 2019 for their involvement. This couple originally pled not guilty, eventually taking a plea deal. Laughlin is expected to serve more than 2 months in jail, pay $150,000 fine, which means nothing to them, and complete 150 hours of community service. Giannulli received 5 months in jail, $250,000 fine, and 250 hours community service. The couple has been reported to jail on November 19th. And the worst part from all of that is, I believe I'm wrong, literally the daughter that they scammed to get in there was it's like a YouTube celebrity.
Yeah.
And she literally made a video that actually said, I'm paraphrasing here, but like, yeah, I don't really care about this education. I'm just going there to party.
Right. Right. So that's a scam, a top level scam.
And I want to make sure this is true. Yeah, this is dead. This is even more sick. Again, I say that I'm joking. I say, but this is why people vote for Trump, even though voting for him was a scam. Also, they wanted someone that was going to not, but whatever. We could have I didn't write my whole PhD on that scam fraud.
Right.
Here, check this out. This chick, the daughter.
Yeah.
Olivia, her name's Olivia Jade. Olivia Jade was reportedly on a USC trustee's yacht when the college admissions scandal broke. Okay. So, you wonder why everyone's pissed off? That's why they're pissed off. There was so much awfulness in that one story.
Right.
That one microcosm of our society all of that was so bad.
Right.
It's boggles the mind. You can't even, how do you explain that?
And it goes down to, always reverts back to the unhappiness of our country and our culture, because there's no justice, there's no accountability.
Well, no, and I mean, remember how miserable I was because I was, working hard and getting good grades didn't seem to do much, and I'm sure it doesn't. Here's what else it says. She was on a yacht. TMZ, well, it's TMZ. I don't know if we can believe them. But this is an Elle magazine. Elle, whatever.
Is that the Secretary of Education's yacht?
One of her 12 yachts? Here.
Yeah.
Oh, of course he's a billionaire, of course. So here, let me read this. Where was Lori Loughlin's daughter, Olivia Jade Giannulli, when news broke that her parents were indicted for allegedly paying $500,000 to make it appear that she had been a rower to guarantee her admission to a university? So yes, she lied that she was on a rowing team.
Right.
To get into USC it's USC. It's not even that good. Go bribe her way to Harvard or Yale or Princeton or Dartmouth. Because it's
but they're not so much as a party as the California.
That's true. It's probably a lot easier to get the drugs.
Right.
At USC.
And the bang.
Yeah. Let us just say TMZ found out that Olivia was on Rick Caruso's yacht. Oh, Rick Caruso!
Who's
That
he?
was that he just tried to run for mayor of Los Angeles last time. Oh,
Scamology, man.
but he lost to Karen Bass, I think. So
Yeah.
at least it's not complete. Look, you know what? To bring it back to a positive spin, I don't know Karen Bass. Apparently she's progressive. I honestly don't know much about her politically. But with all of the scams of 2020,
Yeah.
and we can debate on Biden whether he scammed his way to that. There was some scamming involved. We know that. But whether he's a good president or not, at least it wasn't Bloomberg. At least our system isn't so blatantly corrupt and bought out and for sale that Bloomberg didn't just throw like $3 billion and say, I'm going to be president now. Could you imagine how pathetic that would have been if it was Bloomberg versus Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean which lying, cheating, philandering, tax scamming, New York City billionaire asshole do you want to vote for? So, at least we did that. But hey, he got more primary delegates than Kaha. So
Right.
I don't know. Apparently I think it was like American Samoa or
Yeah.
Guam. I think he won the Guam primary because he
Right.
nuked it with ads. That's supposedly what I read. That he
Weren't
just
those,
nuked
what was it? Leaflets from a plane?
something like they just like nuked Guam with Bloomberg ads. Let me look that up.
So,
Bloomberg.
top story from 2 hours ago. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass pushes plan to end homelessness in L.A. So that means she's a progressive.
Yeah.
Why are we going to spend any money for the homeless? What good are they?
And not even that, but just from, again, I'm not an economics guy. My brain, whatever. I just try to err on the side. I'm not an economics guy, but I try to follow the data. You just do what Finland does. And you figure, if you are a rich LA asshole millionaire, isn't it better for you to not have homeless people living in tents? Wouldn't you, just for your own sake, for your own property value? You know what I mean?
No. No.
You'd rather just let them piss in the street?
Yes.
Okay.
So that I could glower at them and say, look at those pathetic humans. Boy, am I glad I'm not them.
Here, just to clarify, Mike Bloomberg's $620 million campaign did really well in American Samoa. It was Samoa.
It was?
Yeah. Oh, billionaire former mayor blanketed the island as he did elsewhere, except he actually won. So, yeah, he just spent, there you go. He spent $620 million to win the American Samoa primary, or as we saw from that video, remember that guy said the American Somalia? You remember that? They couldn't even say it. They can't even say the name of the territories that they the non-voting delegates of those territories.
So, Bloomberg is worth $80 billion.
Let's look it up.
So $600 million is nothing.
Right. And I'm sure it's a tax deduction for him in the end. Right? Somehow. Net worth.
Yeah, he'll just add 50 cents a month to his service fees.
$76.8 billion he's worth right now.
There you go.
Wow. Thanks for that. Don't need to use digital effects when you're just burping.
That's me vomiting Bloomberg.
Hey, at least that was the one good thing Elizabeth Warren did during that primary race. Remember, she ended him.
Yeah.
Of the debate. So, well, it didn't help that he had the less charisma than a wet paper bag full of cat crap. Remember that? Just how he was.
Right.
All right, I'm sorry. I kind of derailed you on. Did you have anything else you want to say about that college admission scam?
No, that was.
I pretty much said it. Everything.
Typical scam.
But not even that. You see how connected everything is? She was on the yacht of the billionaire USC trustees guy, and then that billionaire tried to be mayor of Los Angeles.
Right.
Because everything's terrible, I guess, and nothing matters anymore.
All right, that brings me to my last one I want to do for this session.
All right, fine.
And that's that nobody goes to jail except who? Who goes to jail?
No. We gotta wait for that one. That's
Why?
a whole episode. Because that's gonna get us canceled before anybody's even watching us. Right?
All right, I'll skip that.
Fine. No, just say what you want to say as a teaser. Say it.
Well, nobody seems to go to get arrested, let alone convicted. I'm talking about just arrested, put in cuffs, and spend the night in jail. Who's the last one that was arrested and put in jail?
Tell us. That Sam Bankman-Fried guy, is that what you're talking about?
He wasn't the last one.
Well, there's another one?
Yeah.
Who?
It's the Trump CEO.
Oh, Weisselberg.
Yeah.
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 All right.
He's in Rikers. He's in
the infirmary wing of Rikers, what we said last time.
Right. That's who gets arrested. He got arrested and he got convicted of 7 felonies.
I know. And Sam Bankman-Fried. And Michael Cohen. And Bernie Madoff.
And Bernie
I get it. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay. So we'll drop off that.
That's a nice tease. Can you figure out what that means? Right. I don't know. I will say, I honestly think it's Madoff. First of all, if the economy didn't collapse, he would have gotten away with it his whole life.
Right.
And secondly, I honestly think he only got arrested and sent to jail because he ripped off rich people. His clients were rich people.
Yeah, but they were also foundations.
Yeah. Like Birthright Israel.
My sister and I went to an auction in Florida. Did I ever tell you that story?
No, go ahead.
So they had an auction at a hotel in Coral Gables, I think it was, Florida. And my sister Roberta and I went to the auction. And what it was an auction of belongings to victims of Madoff's Ponzi scheme. So they were trying to sell some of their property to raise money to recoup what they lost with him.
Oh, so it's like someone directly involved.
So they had, all these wealthy people's art, sculptures, and paintings, and jewelry, and watches, and all very nice stuff that the people, including us, could bid on to raise money for the owners of those properties. Anyway, that was just a quick side story. All right, then we can just finish with Khashoggi.
What? You just throw Khashoggi in there? Oh, you mean that, like, everyone knows that MBS was directly responsible for chopping that guy up while he's alive?
Right.
And we all know that, and whatever.
And how did Biden even fist bump the guy?
Yep, because everybody wants his oil.
Yep.
That's it.
And Trump's got like billions of dollars he's getting with the golf, the alternate to the PGA.
Dad, I'm serious. I think maybe a PhD should just be literally researching everything, not even his whole life, just as president. Start January 20th, 2017 to January 20th, 2021, and how many scams did he pull? And not just him. Like you can't. It's too much, right?
Well,
Just him.
You're not even going to address the 33,000 lies.
No. That lies is like it's not illegal to lie.
Right.
It's not illegal to lie.
Why?
Remember that.
Why?
I don't know. It's not illegal to lie to the reporter. I know that. I mean, it's illegal to lie in certain, like you can't lie to the FBI, obviously, and you can't lie in court. But nobody goes to jail for that.
Jeff Sessions.
I was just going to say that he's the one we always quote. He literally lied to Congress, committed perjury, and whatever. No one even said let's arrest him.
And what about the general?
I think he admitted it, and then he went to jail for a little bit, and then he got pardoned and whatever. And Roger Stone, and that Manafort, or Manning Court, as I used to call him. Ugh. But yes, a PhD just deciphering. Again, it's all little scams. Like, remember they were overcharging the Secret Service to rent rooms in his hotel.
Right.
They would make government planes land at his airport in Scotland or something and charge them for
when Pence went, he flew like 30 miles away from where he had to go, so that he would have to stay at Trump's room.
It's so, and they want more,
right?
But they say, "Oh, he didn't take a salary as president. He donated." Yeah, it's because he's not. Yeah, he's not taking over 400 grand because he's stealing millions of dollars in the back.
That's right.
Oh, I think next time we'll also talk about. Again, I'm trying to figure out like they almost got what they wanted, but he was just lying. You know what I mean?
No, what do you mean?
Like Trump, he was a truth teller in some ways, but he was still in on the scam.
Right.
He's like, man, these guys are stealing your money. I'm not going to steal your money, but I'm also going to steal your money.
Right.
Right? I'm also going to scam you.
Right.
But is it me scamming you better than them scamming you?
Right. He's going to drain the swamp.
No, I'm going to make more. I'm going to make the swamp bigger and have more swamp monsters. Even we're going to have the best swamp. The swamp. My swamp is the best swamp. My swamp monsters are the best. That's literally what happened.
Exactly.
No one's more swampy than my monsters.
That's right. And look how much turnover there was in the executive branch under Trump.
People forget all those guys. Everyone's already forgotten about them. Remember the EPA guy scam? That was it. Tom Price guys. It just never ended.
It never ended.
And
he had secretaries and heads of departments that were just named temporarily.
Right. Oh no, was it the frickin' Secretary of Interior? That was a scam too.
Yeah.
It was like him and one guy owned a fake company and they just embezzled like millions of dollars. Ugh. And he was oh god. So seriously, PhD. I think it's a good research proposal.
Right.
And that'll definitely get me murdered.
Right.
If I write that book. Ugh.
How much can one man do?
And he's gonna back for round 2.
Right.
82-year-old Biden versus 78-year-old Trump. Bring it on. Bring on the dissent.
Emoluments, man.
Is it insanity or senility? Battle it out for the future of America. And here's the thing. First, he hasn't even been arrested for anything.
I know.
Ever.
His company has, but not him.
Here's the thing. It's never going to get to that. We would have done it by now because everybody's too chicken shit. I think the corruption is just too deep. That's why nobody's going to do it. Because if we go after him, they're going to go after you. Everybody's going to go after each other. And then everybody's on Epstein's plane. And then everything falls apart. Right? So I honestly think, but if, let's say somehow justice did come back, he'll just play the insanity card.
No,
you'll say, you got...
He'll leave.
You think he'll leave the country before says he's insane?
Yeah, I mean, Georgia, she might get him. She might get a conviction.
No, she won't. Don't lie to me. Don't say these.
No, they released Thursday. They released the summary of the grand jury, and the grand jury is saying there was no fraud. So
that's different than them saying he tried to scam it. He tried to scam it.
They couldn't mention names.
Oh, it's like individual one.
Yes.
Like Mike Cohen says, I helped the candidate for president of the United States. I can't say who it is.
Right. So she's getting very close. And my guess is she's gonna have him convicted, and he's gonna leave the country.
So probably Saudi Arabia.
Probably.
That's most likely.
Right.
Russia's too on the nose, and Turkey's kind of like not secure enough. I would say to go 50-50 with them.
No, he's gonna go run to the prince. Just
like Idi Amin. In Saudi Arabia till he died.
That's right.
I don't know if Trump's eating people, but just give him some time, right?
Yeah, right.
What else does he have to do with his life? It's like my barbecued human beings are the best.
Oh God.
What else does he have to do? These billionaires, right? They've already done everything.
I know.
Ugh. All right.
So that's the Khashoggi story.
Yeah.
That's the scam of monumental size.
Is that even a scam? That's just bad. Just reality, right?
Well, the scam is that there's no accountability.
I guess so.
That his death gets rewards.
Yes.
Gets a new golf network.
Yeah, I think that's the moral of the story. The way we'll end it today is that, like, in the U.S., crime literally does pay, but you got to make sure it's big.
Right.
If you steal a lady's purse, you're going to go to jail. But if you steal $40 billion of people's retirement funds, you get to be in the board of executives.
Right. And you get a bonus.
All right. Let's leave it at that.